and thank you for tuning in to the Student Wellbeing Vlogs. This is a short guide exploring the effects of avoidance and ways to avoid avoiding. So to begin with, let's have a little look at the anxiety curve, so our anxiety levels when faced with an anxiety-provoking situation. Firstly, when we put ourselves into an anxiety-provoking situation, our anxiety begins to increase, which is perfectly normal. If it is the first time we've been in this situation, or it's something that we've been particularly worried about, our anxiety is likely to reach its highest. If we remain in this situation, we hit a peak in our anxiety, i.e. when it's at its most intense. Our anxiety will then gradually decrease if we ride this peak, something also known as urge surfing, so resisting the urge to avoid or leave the situation. So the next time we put ourselves in this situation, our anxiety will peak at a lower, less intense level. Our anxiety will feel more manageable, and then it will again gradually decrease as we stay in the situation. And again, next time at an even lower level, and so on and so on. Basically, the more we expose ourselves to the situation and work through the urge to leave or avoid, the easier the situation will be to face in the future. Now let's look at this curve if we avoid the situation. So here is our first exposure to the anxiety-provoking situation. We begin to feel quite anxious and nervous and start to panic or assume the worst will happen. We can't cope, so what do? We avoid. What this then means is that next time we put ourselves in this situation, our anxiety increases even further. Perhaps we remember that last time we were unable to do it, and the only thing that helped was to avoid. So what do we do again? That's right, we avoid again. And this cycle again repeats itself. However, this time, as you can see, the more we avoid a situation, the more difficult it is to face in the future, because we are reinforcing the original thoughts that we cannot manage, and the only way to reduce our symptoms is to avoid. Graded exposure is a method of facing anxiety-provoking situations. It involves these steps. Firstly, identifying your goal. What is it you would actually like to be doing or achieving? Is it that you want to be able to take public transport on your own into the centre of Lincoln, or attend a particular social event that you have coming up? Whatever the goal is, break it down into more manageable stages. So taking our public transport example, perhaps the first time you take the bus or train with a friend. Next, maybe your friend gets off halfway, so you do the last half of the journey on your own. And maybe after this you take the bus or the train at a quieter time of the day on your own, but meet your friend at the end. These are just some examples. There could be lots of smaller steps in between these if needed. It is completely personal to you. Next, after identifying your smaller steps, you complete them one at a time. Once each step is manageable for you, and you may need to repeat it several times first until you feel comfortable, move on to the next step. Try to identify if you are using safety-seeking behaviours. These are the subtle and sometimes hard to notice things that we do to make the situation more bearable, but in the long run it keeps our anxiety going. For example, only going food shopping with a friend. Yes, it's great that you're still doing your food shopping, but in this situation the only thing you are learning is that you can only manage if you have someone with you. It is important to add at this stage that graded exposure unfortunately cannot be used for all situations, such as things you have had no pre-warning for and need to do immediately, the unexpected, or even tasks that you are aware about but need to complete all in one stage, such as attending your timetabled activities. Remember, anxiety reaches a peak and then will start to decrease, even if it feels like it won't initially. Although uncomfortable and unpleasant, the symptoms of anxiety cannot harm you. You can manage your symptoms with practice and you can regain control. Don't underestimate the power of breathing. Gaining control of your breathing and slowing this down can lead the way to other physical symptoms of anxiety decreasing. This then helps you to feel more relaxed, which in turn allows you to think more rationally. Our advice is to learn a simple breathing exercise. There are lots available online to have a look at. You can use the breathing exercise anywhere at any time because it is one of the more discreet relaxation exercises, yet one of the most beneficial. The more you expose yourself to these situations, the easier it will become. This is one of the most important messages to take away from today. Say it in your head over and over if needed. It will become easier the more you do it. safety-seeking behaviours are a form of avoidance. And finally, avoidance makes the anxiety worse, so the more you avoid, the harder your anxiety will be to manage and the more difficult the situation will feel to face. We hope you found this short vlog helpful and have learnt something about how to avoid avoiding. Thanks for watching, and please remember that the Student Wellbeing Centre run drop-ins Monday to Friday between 12 and 2 p.m. and hold an evening drop-in on Thursdays during term time between 5 and 7. You can also email us at studentwellbeing@lincoln.ac.uk or give us a call using the number on your screen.